Alright, here's what we're doing today. We're working on cleaning up the firewall some more. I'm not gonna use factory style heat and air, so we're doing delete. These were the two holes where the heater core went, tubes that run to the heater core. And then I'm gonna fill this one in as well. This hole, any of these holes I'm not using. Basically, the way I did this was clean up underneath, get a piece that is a little bit bigger than what I need, and then tack it, and then take my death wheel and cut along the edge at a 45. And that gave me a pretty good gap. I was able to go through, do my spot welds, and then go around once, cool, with the air compressor, go around, cool. This metal here is real thin, still had some blow through, and for the most part, I think it'll clean it nice. I'm gonna work on grinding that down. I was just letting it cool. It's cool to the touch. I just finished, so that blowing it off with a little air in between really helps. Hopefully won't be too warped, nothing I can't fix. I'm skim coating the firewall, as I've said in previous videos, but I want this to look a little bit better than this seam here. We'll see. But I'll update as I progress through this. All right, I got this ground down, a little dolly work, flapper disc, angle grinder, pretty smooth. It's got such a gloss, I'm having a hard time getting in focus. But way better than what I did up here. I kind of know some things to do a little better. One, it helps if you hammer your seam out so your flapper disc and your angle grinder can catch the edges. Because when I did that here, I'd get to where I'd grind it and it'd look like that. So I'd go through, tap the edges, and then from there, just a couple seconds with the flapper disc, and it cleaned right up. There's still a couple spots. I'm not gonna chase them. I'm gonna fill them in with skim coat and move on. This little spot right here was a little tricky because where I had to cut it, I ended up getting a little weld close to that seam. But I got it cleaned up. A little more sanding after I get my skim coat on. So now it's time to work on this big hole. And then that's what I'm using right there. This one here, I think it's 36. And I cut an old cutoff wheel to put behind it so it stays nice and flat. I also used some 120 on here without the cutoff backer. Pretty happy with it. I think the more I do it, the better I'm getting at it. We'll see how this part goes. Slow going when you gotta do small tacks and then cool it off and wait, and just a couple small tacks. But doing the method I talked about where I cut a piece that's bigger than what I need, tack it to it, and then cut it at a 45-degree angle on the edge. Man, that made welding it so much easier. No fitment issues, no big gaps. Just filled right in. So keep at it. All right, got this piece cut out, tacked up there. What I'm gonna start doing now, get the cutoff wheel, go at a 45-degree angle right on the edge, mainly cut the existing metal, not the new piece. I'll probably cut loose like 3 inches, get this corner where I can push it in, and then I'll start tacking it. And as I get this tacked up, cut a little more loose, push it in, tack it, cut a little more loose, push it in, do that all the way around. Then once that's done, just go through and start tacking it in. It'll be time to grind again. All right, got that welded in. A little bit of trouble with it burning through, but not too bad. This time, for some reason, cutting the angle on the top just made too big of a gap. I just think I had a hard time trying to dodge that seam. But nonetheless, it looks good. I'm gonna work on getting it smoothed out now. Pretty happy with the progress I've made today. All right, catch you back up. Get that all smoothed down. Pretty happy with it. A couple spots. It's a little hard to hammer and dolly it by myself. It was easy to do this one because I could reach through this hole, but now that hole's closed up, not so much. Still, it's nothing that little body filler, skim coat won't fix. I'm pretty happy with it. Most of that sunk in, so filler will go right in. I don't have to get a little help, kind of hammer and dolly that a little flatter. But overall, I kept the heat down. It's not too warped. Honestly, most of the little warp that's in there was in there to begin with. If anything, I probably took a little out. A little spot I kind of ground through a little too much. I'm gonna start working on some of these smaller holes, so I'll go back and touch up a couple of these spots that I got some holes in. Yeah, so far pretty happy with the whole project. Keep working. All right, I'm gonna stop for the day, but I got all those holes plugged up. A little tricky. Wasn't really big enough to cut a piece of metal for. So I put this little piece of copper behind it, just taped it to the back side. Was able to kind of fill it in. This metal's real thin right here. There's a little bit of rust on the inside. I can't chase every little hole. If I do, I'll never finish this job. It's not a show truck, just trying to make it solid. So what I'm gonna do on the inside, I'm gonna give it a good once over, some sandpaper, spray that rust encapsulator on it, and that stuff's really solid. It'll shut down any rust. It'll fill some of those holes. It'll add a little thickness to the metal too as it builds up. And then I'll get a good skim coat of Bondo on here and little holes like that right there. I'd like to cut that out, but like I said, if I chase every tiny hole on this cab, I'm never gonna finish. So I'll settle for like 95% rust free. Yeah, real happy with my progress today. I'm gonna take this tomorrow. I think I'm just gonna cut a square. I have an easier time cutting a square shape than I will that circle. I've got some bits that I can cut with that make a circle, but the problem is it makes a hole in the middle too. And so I just figure I'll just cut a square and just go that route. And then I really hadn't decided what I'm gonna fix over here. I may just leave it and put grommets where I'm not gonna use anything. Some of it I'll still use. Run wires, hood latch. I'm still gonna use a fuse box. So I gotta get that plate back on. May try to do that tomorrow too. I thought about fixing this too, but if I ever want to go back, it'd be nice just to have the factory hole there. So what I may do with some of these holes is on the inside put a little plate and then just tack it in. That way if it ever needs to come off, it wouldn't take but grinding a couple welds. And then I'll probably just maybe fill that in with a little Bondo, sand it down, feather the edge, be done with it. I don't know, we'll see. Yeah, keep checking the channel, I'll be updating. If you like the videos, never asked before, but it would be nice if you'd subscribe so I know people are actually watching and getting something out of this. Catch you up on the next one.